Hi, I'm Kristen King, and welcome to Markets and Minds, the show where we break down big macro themes into simplified trade ideas. Markets have seesawed over the last week as President Trump was released from hospital after treatment with an experimental cocktail of steroids and antiviral drugs. And since then, he appears to be full of energy and claiming to now be immune from the virus. He also wasted no time in getting to the heart of the debate about what comes next for the U.S. economy. U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has been speaking to Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi about a second round of stimulus measures from the federal government, which President Trump kiboshed via Twitter. The market fell and the narrative switched from the president's preference for piecemeal stimulus to his desire for something more aggressive than Pelosi had even proposed. He then called on Congress to approve an extension of the payroll support program for U.S. airlines, which have furloughed tens of thousands of workers. This close to the election, it's difficult to know if President Trump is playing games to disrupt the Democrats and the campaign of his rival, former Vice President Joe Biden, or if he is generally interested in offering targeted help to hard-pressed U.S. business. Of course, help for business is just one part of the equation. Consumers need assistance too, as they are the engine of the U.S. economy and account for as much as 70% of GDP in the country. Data from the U.S. Census Bureau suggests that many consumers are struggling to afford the basic necessities. It also found that 24% of U.S. households expect someone in their family to lose their job over the next month, and that 6.8% of U.S. adults are not up to date with rent or mortgage payments. Markets would undoubtedly prefer another round of fiscal stimulus. After all, a rising tide lifts all ships. But longer term, there will be questions about how exactly the trillions of dollars would be funded and ultimately paid for. Implied borrowing costs for the U.S. government have been rising, with a sharp increase once we move beyond 5 years. J.P. Morgan was just one of a number of brokers to issue upgrades on selected airline stocks this week, including JetBlue, which have rallied by 8.4% over the last 7 days. The U.S. Global JETS ETF, which tracks the sector, has rallied by 4% during that time. However, it remains down by 43.46% year to date. The question then is, could a rotation be in the offing? Are we looking at hard-pressed sectors in the economy receiving aid whilst those that have performed well do not? Markets value and prioritize stocks and sectors that demonstrate positive marginal changes and punish those that don't. With no end in sight to COVID-19, the financial health of the U.S. consumer will become an increasingly important issue, especially as we move even closer to the all-important holiday shopping season. That's all for today. See you next time.